Welcome to VAK's lecture. In this video, we will discuss about the basic structure of C programming language. Depending upon the basic structure of any programming language, we can write the program. Which sections are included in the structure, which one we have to follow exactly, which are optional ones. Likewise, we have to learn all these in the structure. In structure of C program, we have different sections. Generally, these are the different sections in C programming language. Documentation section, link section, definition section, global declaration section, main function. In that we have declaration part and executable parts. And then we have subprogram section. In that we have number of function definitions. We will discuss all these one by one. Documentation section. This section is also called as comment section. Every C program starts with the documentation section. What is this documentation section? What it contains? Suppose if we are writing any program, then what's the name of that program? Who wrote this program? When it is developed? At what time it has been written? What's the main purpose of the program? With which name we have saved this program? Likewise, all these details you may mention in documentation section. All these matter are useful to the user only, not for compiler. That means that there is no need to execute all these in a program. So that we need to specify all these in a comments. Then, how to represent these in comments? In C language, comments are of two types. First one, single line comment. Single line comment means comment starts and ends within a single line. Double forward slash is used to represent the single line comment. For example, addition of two numbers. Just I gave the comment by using the double forward slash. It is called as single line comment. Multi-line comment. This comment takes the number of lines. It is represented with the forward slash asterisk and for some lines and then asterisk forward slash. This is used to represent the multi-line comment. For the same above example only, we can write like program name, addition, and for some date and time, and for description like addition of two numbers. All these are enclosed within the comments. So that means a forward slash asterisk, and then it is ended with the asterisk and forward slash. If we use these comments by using these delimiters, then compiler takes these as comments and ignores these statements while compilation. For the understanding purpose only, we use these comments. So documentation section contains the information and that information should be mentioned within comments. This section is optional one. This is about documentation section. Now the link section. Link section is also called as preprocessor directive or header file section. What this link section contains? Suppose if we are writing a C program, then we have to use some functions like IO functions, mathematical functions, string functions, etc. Suppose if you want to print a message on the screen, then we have to use printf built-in function. Similarly, if you want to read any value from the keyboard, then we have to use scanf function. These are called as built-in functions. Not only these two, we have some more built-in functions also. If we want to use these built-in functions in our program, then there is no need to write the code separately for all these. Then, without writing any code, how we will use these built-in functions in a program? The reason is all these built-in functions are stored in some header files. If we include these header files in our program, then we can use these built-in functions without getting any errors. For this, we have the preprocessor #include. It is used to instruct the compiler to include preprocessors before compiling the C program. Means this #include preprocessor is used to include all the built-in library functions in our C program. Suppose if we want to use printf and scanf built-in functions, then I have to use a standard input-output header file. That means we have to use #include stdio.h. Here std for standard, I for input, O for output and H for header file. All these built-in functions are saved with .h extension. Suppose if I want to use or if you want to clear the screen at runtime, then I have to use CLR SCR built-in function. For this, I have to include console input output header file, and these should be included before the main function. Still, we are having some more built-in functions like math.h, string.h, etc. So if we want to access or to use built-in functions in our program, then the corresponding header files we have to include. While we are executing the program, the linker checks whether the corresponding header files are included or not. Otherwise, it shows the error message. And this section is mandatory. So this is about link section. Now the definition section. In this section, we can define the macros. Macro means symbolic constants. Suppose in our program, if you want to use some value throughout the program without getting any modifications, then we can use the preprocessor hash define in this definition section. For example, hash define pi 3.14. Already we know that pi value cannot be changed and always its value should be 3.14 or 22 by 7. So that we can use pi value like hash define pi 3.14 where pi is macro and 3.14 is macro value. Generally, we use the capital letters for macros to differentiate from the normal variables. So many users also using small letters, but for the differentiation purpose, it is better to use the capital letters. And throughout the program, the macro value cannot be changed. In this example, here already we have defined the pi value as 3.14. But in the program, I have changed the value of pi as 6.14. That means I have assigned one more value to the macro pi. If we change the macro value, then compiler will display the error message. So macro value cannot be changed throughout the program. And this section is optional one. This is about definition section. Now global declaration section. In this section, variables are declared as global at the outside of the main function. These can be used as inside and outside the main function. First of all, we will see local variable and then go for global one. Suppose I want to use a value 20 in my program. How to use this one? First of all, this 20 should be stored in memory. Suppose this is our memory and this memory is divided into number of cells and our 20 is stored in one cell. For that cell or for that memory location or for that address, we have to give the name. For suppose that is x and this x is called as variable. This x or this variable is used to store the value 20. Look at the example. Before going to use any variable, that should be declared first. Here x contains the value 20, that is numerical value. That's why x is declared as int data type inside the main function. So that this variable or this variable x is called as local variable. We can use this variable throughout the main function but not the outside of the main function. If we want to use the variable outside of the main function, then we have to use the global declaration section. Generally, we write the code within the main function. This main function is called as predefined or built-in function. In any C program, user can also write his own defined programs or own defined functions. Generally, the program execution starts from main function only. When we write the user-defined function after the main, then we have to declare this user-defined function above the main function. And if we declare any variable outside the main function, then that global variable can be accessible in main function as well as in all other user-defined functions. Don't get any confusion about void, int, printf, user-defined function and all these. Slowly we will learn all these in our next coming sessions. Now just focus on global declaration only. If we declare any variable inside the main function, that is local variable. If we declare the variable outside the main function, then that is global variable. And this section is optional one. This is about global declaration section. Now, main function. Generally, C program is a collection of functions. In those, one function should be the main function. Every C program must contain main function. Without main function, any C program doesn't work. Why? Because compiler starts its execution from main function onwards. This main function contains two parts, declaration part and executable part. In declaration section, we declare the variables. Means if you want to use any variable in any statements, before that we have to declare those. So that the variable must be declared before using it. These can be declared in declaration part. Executable part means from where the execution will start. That part is called executable part. Both declaration and executable parts are placed inside the curly braces. In this program, we have initialized 10 into variable A and 20 into variable B. Here we are using A and B. So, before using, we have to declare. Here 10 and 20 are numerical values. So, A and B are declared as int data type. And this declaration can be done in declaration part. Remaining all these statements are in executable part. This section is mandatory. This is about main function. Subprogram section. This is also called as a user-defined function definition section. Already we have discussed that C program contains a number of functions. Among those, one should be the main function, and that is built-in function. By using this main function, we can write the code, that means executable code we can write inside the main function. And user can use user-defined functions also. But for those user-defined functions, user has to declare these functions above the main function and can write the code in the function definition, which is below the main function. And every C compiler starts its execution from the main function onwards. That means C compiler follows top-down approach. We will discuss about this top-down approach very clearly in our next coming sessions. And here the top function is main function and down functions are add and sub functions, which are called as user-defined functions. Every time compiler starts its execution from main function onwards. Whatever you write the user-defined functions below the main function, exactly those should be declared above the main function. That's why add and sub functions are declared above the main function. Otherwise, compiler will display the error message. This section is optional one, but if you want to write the user-defined functions, then only it becomes mandatory. So this is about subprogram section. And up to now, we have discussed the basic structure of C programming language. If you got to learn anything from this video, please like, share and subscribe my channel. Also press the bell icon for more new updates. Thank you.